The New Day had an incredible send-off segment on this episode of SmackDown. Got me all teary-eyed and everything. Welcome to the WrestleTalk podcast review of SmackDown. I am Corporate Chopper. I'm joined by Andy Datson. And the first thing we're going to be talking about today is this amazing send-off segment that the New Day had on this show. So going into it, let's just get the first thing out the way. Let's get nitpicky now, and then we can just be positive afterwards. It doesn't make sense that a load of Raw talent is on this show. Kingston and Woods have just been drafted to Raw. They shouldn't be on this show. Sheamus has just been drafted to Raw. He shouldn't be on the show. Braun Strowman has just been drafted to Raw. He shouldn't be on this show. Let's ignore that for a second because this segment was amazing. And all the pieces there made for an incredible segment because the New Day, all three of them came out and they cut a promo before their match, which was an emotional promo of them just looking back over their 6-year run that they've had as a team and just talking about some of their best highlights, the Hell in a Cell match with the Usos, Kingston winning his WWE championship and winning their first tag team championship and how they even came together, and Kingston saying about, back in 2012, I didn't know if I wanted to continue doing pro wrestling, like I was going to quit. Because, he was in that perpetual mid-card thing, probably feuding with Dolph Ziggler. They managed to kind of excavate Kingston out of the rubble that he'd been put in and create something as special as the New Day. And they all just seemed very genuine and unscripted with just like, man, we've had a really good run in this 6 years.
I think it's easy to do that when it's a genuine emotion. Like they are genuinely really close friends. They have been on the road together for 6 years. They've all got that just kind of, it's a true, you could see the real emotion on their faces. This is because it's a genuine thing. Big E is now on SmackDown, and yeah, they can see each other in the week and whatever, but they're actually on different shows now. They won't be traveling to shows together. They won't be having matches together. It's an actual, goodbye, my actual really close friend. And what their promo really reminded me of was there was a few years ago, I was like, I wish they would break up. I wish they would, because they're just so annoyingly obnoxious, like pancakes and unicorns and the trombone. I was like, oh, stop it. And now I'm like, I can't believe they're breaking them up. I cannot believe they're doing. Why would you ever want to break these guys up?
You fickle wrestling fan, you.
I know. But they did it. And I know, like you said, they shouldn't Raw stars, but I think we can sort of make an exception for this. Maybe you can argue that they should have done this match earlier, or I don't know, but I think the way they did it was perfect. You don't need to break them up, but if you're going to do it like this, as you say.
Yeah, totally. And I think that the biggest thing that came from this, and I was worried that they had a match, and then afterwards I was worried that there was going to be an angle to as the final, farewell of the New Day. There's going to be some sort of angle, but they didn't have that, which we'll get onto in a second, because they had a 6-man tag match against Cesaro and Nakamura and Sheamus. And Sheamus, you might think, is a bit of a weird inclusion because he just got drafted to Raw. They could put in basically anyone. They could put in Corbin. I don't know, why not put him in there? But Sheamus's inclusion was actually a stroke of genius, I thought, because Cesaro and Nakamura make sense. They just beat him for the SmackDown tag titles. But also you've now got Cesaro and Sheamus, aka The Bar. The Bar versus the New Day was a really big deal back in the day, when the tag divisions were actually somewhat cared about, and New Day and Usos and the Bar and the Hardy Boys and all these teams were kind of revolutionizing the WWE tag team division. That was a major part of it. And being able to have Sheamus and Cesaro be able to send off the New Day, I think is a really, really nice touch. There was even, a little bit where they did a little tag team move together and went and did their bar taunt together. Later on in the match, Sheamus was kind of taunting Kingston, just being like, you would be nothing if it wasn't for me and Cesaro. And I'm like, that's really clever. I really like what they're doing with that. So
it also just makes sense because obviously Sheamus has been feuding with Big E recently. So it's kind of
totally
it has all that kind of history stuff, but also it's just, I feel like if you just shoved someone random in there, it wouldn't have quite the same effect anyway. But no, it was cool to see them do that little bar bits, and you got Shinsuke going, oh, I wish we were as close friends. That's what'll come next. Shinsuke's going to turn on Cesaro because like, you're not as good as friends with me as you were with him.
Yeah, and then he reunites the bar because Cesaro just switches tag team partners
to Raw for no reason.
Yeah,
it ended well. I'm sure in the next draft they'll be reunited. But for now, it was a nice way to do a send off.
It was amazing, and the match itself I thought was great. It felt like more of a big deal. I don't know whether it was the promo beforehand that kind of lended itself to the match more, but this felt like a much bigger deal for them, this match. And a lot of the offense, it was like highlights of all the New Day's best stuff. It was like, oh yeah, you remember when Biggie does that Uranagi into the backstabber on Xavier Woods? So let's do that again. Hey, remember when Biggie powerbombed Xavier Woods as some offense and then Kingston hits a frog splash? Let's do that again. It was just like all of like the best bits of New Day's offense just continuing to come out and being replayed again. You're like, oh man, this is the last time we're going to see all these moves. It lended itself so perfectly to the emotion of the match. And then just the ending comeback when Sheamus gets a bit too cocky. Kingston dodges out of the way as he charges into the post, tags in Biggie and Woods. They hit the midnight hour or the up, up, down, down for one last time. And it was just immediately they get the pin. Biggie immediately gets on his feet, grabs both of them, and just gets into a massive, like, tight embrace with all three of them. And I was like, oh, my little heart. Oh. And then they just stood there for like 30, 45 seconds of them just embracing and just talking to each other. And it was just really nice. It was a really genuinely emotional moment. It felt
unscripted.
Yes.
And that's what you want. You don't want it to feel like you're just like, oh, by the way, after the match, can you hug a bit? It actually felt like they were just, that was raw emotion coming out. They wanted to hug. They wanted to have that moment together.
Exactly. Yeah.
And just to echo Ollie Davis, 6-man tag belts would be fun.
Why? They have no teams.
Yeah, I know, but they could make lots of good trios. A trios belt.
Instead of making loads of trios, make tag teams. Make an actual tag division. Stop breaking up your teams. Do that.
There's so many people that aren't used that you could make a trio division out of.
You know what you could do? Instead of having more belts, because that's the last thing WWE needs, unify your tag belts, have a proper tag division and treat it properly, then maybe we can entrust them with the trios division. But right now, absolutely not.
5-man tag belts.
I hate you. This was an awesome segment. I loved it so much, and I don't know whether it's because I didn't sleep well last night, but I got genuinely emotional watching it, and that to me is amazing.
It was a great moment on this season premiere of SmackDown.
I still hate that. Yeah, I hate the fact it was the season premiere, but that was an amazing segment. But now let's go through the rest of the show. So it opened up on this show with no authority figures. We got Stephanie McMahon and Triple H starting off the show because, sure, why not?
Who else would you have opening the season premiere of SmackDown?
The roster. Just have them there and have Michael Cole or Corey Graves just in the ring, just being like, welcome to the season premiere and here's our new roster. Don't have Steph and Triple H.
If they'd open with a last series on SmackDown and then just went through the entire year of SmackDown going, oh, crap. Yeah, it was mediocre.
Yeah. The Steph and Triple H were just there to kind of hype up the show, say what's coming up, and talk about their new roster members. The rest of the roster were kind of on the stage, plus Braun Strowman, who's from Raw, plus Kingston and Woods, who are from Raw, plus Sheamus, who's from Raw, without Roman Reigns, who's on SmackDown. So it was a bit of a mix and match, but they were just saying we've got Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns for the Universal title later tonight. We've got Jeff Hardy versus Lars Sullivan. And we've got the return of Daniel Bryan. We've got Kevin Owens now. We've got Aleister Black. We've got Sami Zayn as Continental Champion. Look out, here's Otis. And we've got new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits. Well, hey, because they did exactly what I predicted them to do, which was they traded the titles on Raw without a hitch. They just said, here's the SmackDown ones, here's the Raw ones. There you go. Interchangeable. But yes, so they After the Street Profits got introduced, though, they came out on the stage and were like, "Hey, look, we got tag belts." Then they get attacked by Ziggler and Rude. And then everyone starts fighting for some reason.
Yes, everyone just was like, well, they're doing it.
Well, guess we better join in, right?
There's nothing that makes me more angry than other people fighting. I'm going to do it now.
It's like, I can understand if people who already had beef started fighting, like, Kevin Owens and Aleister Black, who did actually, they fought as part of this brawl. But if it was like the Street Profits and Rude and Ziggler started fighting, and then Lars Sullivan and Jeff Hardy started fighting, and then Kevin Owens and Aleister Black started fighting, it was like, okay, so these people have actual beef. But this was just a brawl for the sake of a brawl. And the commentary were like, oh, everyone's looking to make a name for themselves. It's like, what? Okay.
Bryan doesn't have beef with anyone.
No.
He has tofu.
Yeah. So then, favorite part of the show, Lars Sullivan comes out and beats up everyone.
If there was just one word to describe him. Oh, man. Is it Monster? No, that's Braun Strowman.
No, Monster's Braun Strowman. It's got something else.
Giant? No, that's
no.
That's Gonzalez.
World's largest athlete? No, it's Big Show.
No. Man with beard? No. Mitch? No.
I got it.
What?
Freak.
Oh, that'll never get over.
Never. You know how we're going to get it over, though? We're going to say it every 5 seconds. Jesus Christ, this commentary team. It's not their fault. Almost certainly it's not their fault, because it's Vince McMahon yelling in their ear being like, say freak. I love it. I've got a tweet here from Sean Ross Sapp. Lars Sullivan got referred to as the Freak 22 times in one television segment. 16 of those times were by Michael Cole. The segment was 7.5 minutes long.
It's the Big Freak. It's freak time.
Genuine. If you go back to it again, because it's not just them, that's only referring to him as the Freak. But them saying that he's got freakish strength and freakish athletic ability and his finisher, the Freak Accident, the amount of times they said the word freak, or as part of another word they had freak in it, is genuinely absurd.
And honestly, I have no interest in once again seeing Lars Sullivan getting freaky. But we've said our piece on Lars Sullivan. We don't think he should be on TV. But as he is beating up everyone, like Shorty G and Apollo just immediately welcome to SmackDown. Buried.
And it's like Apollo Crews, former United States champion, fresh start over on SmackDown. Nope. See you later, bud. It was nice knowing you, I guess. That was unfortunate for him. But yeah, then Jeff Hardy temporarily stops him. They get into a match. Lars Sullivan beats him. He just kind of no-sells a little bit of Hardy's offense. Hardy goes for it. It was a somewhat cool finish in that he goes for a twist of fate. He goes up to the top, expecting Lars to still be down to go for a swanton, but Lars has already got back to his feet, and then he just grabs him off the top rope, hits a Freak Accident, and gets the win. Again, we've said our bit about Lars Sullivan. All of that aside, I'm still not into this character necessarily. So, especially when the commentary make it really obnoxious to listen to. So, whatever. It's fine. After that, we had the New Day match that we spoke about. And then we had Otis and Sami Zayn backstage, where Otis is Mr. Money in the Bank. Despite everything, despite me really cooling down on Otis as a character and all the stuff he's been through since the whole Mandy Rose split and him not doing anything and Miz and Morrison and all that stuff, Kayla Braxton comes in and goes, Mr. Money in the Bank, Otis. And he comes in and goes, oh yeah. And I go, just every time. He's just so good at it. I don't know, man. It gets me every time. He is going to start saying something, then Sami Zayn comes in and says, because they got into a bit of a verbal shouting match on the top of the show when they were introducing the roster.
Yeah.
And Sami says he's disrespectful or whatever he said. Didn't really matter. But then Otis pushed him over. just pushed him, didn't like attack him or anything, just pushed him over.
Yeah.
And Sami Zayn's selling of this I thought was hilarious. Sami Zayn just being like,
Oh,
guys, what?
How dare you?
How did you just push me? Huh? It was so funny. Like, Sami Zayn's facials are so funny.
They are. I really do like. I mean, that's why I'm slightly worried that Sami's just going to get fed to Lars Sullivan in a couple of weeks.
That would be unfortunate, wouldn't it?
Which I can totally see happening. Yeah, just. But once again, he's just proved how great he is. Otis, like you say, kind of can always get a little pop out of me. Be interesting to see what Otis does next, because as you say, he was up here in May. And now he's here.
That was high and then low for podcast listeners.
Yes.
And he's still got this ongoing lawyer stuff with The Miz, even though Miz is now on Raw. Who cares? After that, we got the return of Daniel Bryan, which was not used for a surprise or special in any way.
No. Hey,
he's here now.
Do you remember even before he came back a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Came out of retirement. They announced that before the show. It was like, maybe that's just a thing with Daniel Bryan. Let's just announce Twitter. It. Yeah. I couldn't. That was one of the strangest things. I was like, Daniel Bryan coming back is. I mean, maybe they want to get people to watch the show, but my God.
Totally. I know why they did it. I know why they did it, because they want to get the views. But it's like, if you want to make an enticing product, that could make for a brilliant moment.
Because he comes out to a pop anyway. People be going, yes, because he was the SmackDown general manager. And then, but if then you just have him come out and go, by the way, I've just had a word with the doctor. People be going, what? Rather than, we know what he's going to say.
Yeah. Even better than that, I know we're retroactively booking a segment from 2 years ago, but or 3 years ago, whenever it was. But I would have loved for him to come out and for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to beat him up, and for no one to know he's been medically cleared. Everyone be like, "You can't. What are they doing to Daniel Bryan? You can't. Why is he taking bumps?
And then the next week,
what's happening?" And then he comes out and he just beats him off, not like that, but like he did in real life.
I'm cleared.
But like in real life, they attacked him, and then he came back and did all his signature offense, and everyone goes, "This is amazing." Imagine if they did that without announcing he was medically cleared. Then he got rid of him, and then got on the mic and said, "Oh, by the way, I'm medically cleared now." Everyone would go, "What?"
Wow. But okay, fast forward to now again.
Yeah, fast forward to now. Sorry.
This instead was used to further another feud, a completely fresh feud, which we hadn't seen on SmackDown before. It's a guy called.
You're not
Seth
wrong.
Rollins.
We haven't seen it on SmackDown
it's
before.
A guy called Seth Rollins and a guy called Rey Mysterio, who up until now have been on the other brand, Raw, I think it's called. But they are still feuding. They have been feuding for months, and they are not going to stop feuding, apparently.
Nope. As confirmed in the promo from last week, with Rey Mysterio being like, "We're not finished with Seth." Daniel Bryan came out and said, "It's great to be back. Here are some people on SmackDown that I really want to face. People like Kevin Owens, Aleister Black, Apollo Crews. And I'm really excited that we've got people like Bianca Belair and the Riot Squad and stuff." But then he gets interrupted by Seth Rollins. And I was like, "Ooh, okay. Maybe they're going back on their thing. Maybe Rollins is just starting a new feud. Great." He came out and he was like, "Well, there's one name that you didn't say. Hello, I'm right here." Kind of asking Daniel what side of history he wants to be on and stuff like that. And Daniel was like, "You're kind of dumb, dude. Like your vision for what the brand should be is kind of dumb." And Seth was like, "No, it isn't." Punch. And just kind of started beating up Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan came back and beat him up. The Mysterios then came out and I went, but they came out and were looking like they were going to have a 2-on-1 beatdown against Rollins. Rollins was trying to get Bryan as an ally, but Bryan had just beaten him up, so he wasn't going to do that. So he bounced. And then Murphy came out. This was the one bit I did like, which was Murphy ran down and kind of came in between them and then looked like he was teasing going to be joining Seth again. Maybe he's been brainwashed again and he's believing the propaganda and all that stuff. But then he just turns around and just lays a freaking awesome knee to Seth's face, which was brilliant. But then he offers a handshake out to the Mysterios, and they don't take it. They ignore the handshake and walk off.
Well,
Good drama.
He is hitting on their sister and daughter, so
yeah,
you've got to be a bit wary of him. An old gentleman with your daughter. You don't want to get too close.
Yes.
But no, it's cool to see. I'm assuming we're going to see a blow-off match between. There's so many different matches you can have here. There's the Seth Rollins buddy match. There's we're still going to have more matches between Seth Rollins and the Mysterios, presumably.
I hope not.
When's it going to end?
I hope it's just Seth versus Buddy, and Buddy has the Mysterios come out to help Buddy, and that's it. The Mysterios don't have another match with Rollins at any point, but the conclusion of their feud is just to help Buddy overcome Seth, and that's it. I think that's a solid conclusion, considering they've already had their chance of beating Seth. After that, we got a nothing match between Street Profits versus Ziggler and Rude, which was supposedly for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Ended after 2 minutes because they beat each other up too much.
Yeah, you can't do that in a wrestling match.
No, totally not. One thing that was cool, the spine buster into the zigzag looks nice.
Yes.
There you go. Montez Ford hit a big crossbody off the top rope, getting stupid height like he does. So the Street Profits stand tall. So I guess we're going to see Street Profits versus Ziggler and Rude for the next year. Probably.
Yes, there are not very many teams left on SmackDown, as we've said in the past couple of weeks. So yeah, get used to seeing these guys wrestle a lot, basically.
Yep. It's just replacing the Andrade Angel Garza feud with just another team. Then we got a contract signing between Sasha Banks and Bayley. WWE official Adam Pearce overseeing this, who's definitely not a general manager. Remember, no authority figures. He's just an official overlooking it. Just call him the GM. Just make him the GM. It's not... Jesus, come on, guys. Banks got a pretty solid promo here, just kind of reminding us of the history between her and Bayley. Not even the rivalry that they had in NXT, but Bayley, when she came up to the main roster, it was to team with Sasha Banks, and Banks was there. Anytime Bayley won some gold, Banks was helping her with it. They won the tag titles together, the first ever, women's tag team title holders. All the stuff like that. And she was saying, I helped you win. I helped you retain the title that you've got right now. Bayley's been holding on to it for over a year, and Sasha has helped every step of the way. Sasha signs a contract, but I thought in what was a nice touch, because I don't think I've seen it before, Bayley just didn't sign it. She's like, I don't want to. And then just walked off.
And no one went through a table.
No one went through a table. There was no violence. It was okay, cool. I like it. Makes sense for Bayley's character.
It's a heel, yeah. I don't want to face you. I don't want to risk losing this. I thought Sasha Banks's jumpsuit was really nice.
It was, yeah.
Exactly. No, it's a nice new little thing. I actually got asked earlier, is Bayley the worst member of the Four Horsewomen? I was like, that's not fair. And I went, huh? Is she?
No, it's Charlotte Flair.
I think we were talking in ring. I think in ring.
Yeah, no, it's Charlotte Flair.
You do not like Charlotte Flair.
I really don't.
But I was like, that's unfair to Bayley because she's great. But is she the worst member of the Four Horsewomen?
Here's an actual hot take then. In ring, the worst person of the Four Horsewomen is Becky Lynch.
See, that's also what I thought.
Yeah. In ring, she really is the worst of the four. I mean, she's still very good, but the thing that she has over the other three, realistically, is a connection with the crowd. She has such charisma and can get herself over regardless. That's Becky's strength.
But her actual in-ring ability, her moves and her moveset and her actual in terms of great matches, the great matches she has are with other members of the Four Horsewomen.
Yes.
Her matches with other people aren't that good. But anyway, enough of Becky Lynch. I hope she's having a nice time being pregnant. And good luck with all that.
Good luck with the whole birth and everything.
Yes.
But yes, it was a nice touch. It was a nice touch, I thought, to have Bayley just not sign the contract and walk off, and Sasha just saying, I will get you to sign this. One way or another, you will sign this contract. I was like, ooh, okay, I'm intrigued. We got a couple of cameos from some people. Ken Jeong and Joel McHale from Community.
For some reason, I love Community, but that was like, okay.
Did you know Ken Jeong is an actual like wrestling fan? Like legit, he wasn't just like paid to do a random cameo for that. He said a lot of his comedy apparently came from WWE. Like that was his inspiration to start doing comedy. Was he was watching a lot of WWE at the time, and he was like, "Man, some of this is just so funny," and then wanted to do comedy because of that. Like,
no, we do.
Okay.
I do. Chang is a if you haven't watched Community on Netflix, go and watch it. It is genuinely one of the best shows I've seen.
Yeah, it's amazing. I hope he's recovered from his Changnesia.
Yes, absolutely. But what Braun Strowman has probably not recovered from yet is a new finisher.
Whoa!
Roman Reigns.
I know.
Before we talk about this, I love that Roman Reigns has got a new finisher. I think it makes him look so cool. I had been growing tired of the spear, and I'm not saying he should use this new finisher for every match, but the fact that he now has a submission finisher makes him so much better, in my opinion.
Why don't we talk about that in a little bit at the end of the match? So,
now
Universal title match.
Reverse order.
Again, we'll get this out of the way first. This is the little negative bit before we can be positive. There's no reason that this match should be happening. It does not make sense for Roman to have a Universal title match, especially against Braun Strowman, when he's already got a Universal title match at Hell in a Cell and Braun Strowman's on Raw. It doesn't make any sense. There's no argument to be made for it. It just doesn't make sense. With that said, this was awesome. They really tried their best to make this feel like a big fight, and I think they succeeded with that. They had Goldberg in the Thunderdome watching on. They had various people throughout the night. They had like Ric Flair watching the tag match, and they had also next to Goldberg, I believe, was Keith Lee, who they didn't mention. He was just there. Like, come on, guys! It's a guy who's having a match with Braun on Monday. There's a reason he's there. But they made it a big fight feel when they were introducing them. They listed their accolades as well. It was like former Universal Champion, greatest Royal Rumble winner, whatever else Braun Strowman's won. Braun Strowman and 3-time WWE Champion, Royal Rumble winner, current Universal Champion Roman Reigns. I was like, okay, that's a nice touch. And the match itself I thought was pretty good. Like, we know these guys can have a very good match. They have pretty good chemistry together. We saw that even like the more ridiculous stuff they've had, like their ambulance match at Great Balls of Fire, where Roman tried to kill Strowman after the match, lest we forget. That was really fun, honestly, at the time. And these two do work very well together. There was some really nice offense. Both of them got a chance to shine. Strowman kicked out of a spear, which is a pretty big deal. And Roman did his now, I guess, signature thing, which is as he kicked out of a chokeslam, he just punched Braun in the nuts, because that's what he does now.
Yes,
great.
I like that, by the way. I like the nut punch, but as long as he doesn't do it every
time.
Because it's the sort of thing like WC, someone tweeting out, "Oh, that's really cool," and they go, "Well, that's him for every match."
Keep doing it, yeah.
But yeah, and then they both kicked out of each other's kind of finishes. I know the chokeslam isn't Braun's actual finisher, but like it's it's a power move.
Yeah.
And then, like I was saying earlier, Reigns managed to get a guillotine choke in, which is a actual real UFC move. And it really fits the Roman Reigns character, which is, I am a badass. And I don't
know if anyone who's an actual badass has said it like that before.
Hey,
trendsetter, you. Point proven.
Yeah, and he just gets with the choke. And I was thinking, okay, well, cool. He's got a new submission. Braun's not going to tap. Braun taps.
And I was like, oh,
wow.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a well synchronized okay, by the way.
It was genuinely really cool. He just got on a guillotine, and like it got to a point where he was leaning on Strowman. Strowman ran to the corner to ram Reigns into it to get him off, and I was like, oh, okay, he's just going to break it. And then Reigns just hung in there. He just carried on doing it, and he just got him down to the mat. And I can't tell whether Strowman passed out or tapped out. The commentary said he tapped out, but I didn't see him actually tap. So either way, he lost. And And yeah, Reigns won with the guillotine, which is great. That is, and I think as well, if he's going to be facing someone smaller than him, for example, Jey Uso, I think it could look really cool when he does that. Not necessarily, like the sitting version that he has against Strowman, where he was kind of like his legs are around his waist while Strowman's standing. I think if he's on his feet and he's just got Jay's head just locked like that, I think that would look really, really cool for him because he's a big man. So yeah, really, really nice change of pace to have him win with the guillotine. Love that. Love the new addition to the moveset. And then the post-match angle was even better because he started to wail on Strowman, hit another spear, got a chair out, started smashing Strowman with the chair. Jey Uso had come out onto the stage to watch, I guess. And then Roman kind of called him down to the ring. And again, I don't know what it is that makes this so special, but Roman not being on a microphone and just talking to Jey, they boosted the microphones in the ring so we could hear them, but him not grabbing a microphone and just talking to Jey makes this feel so personal between them when they're just talking to each other.
Cousin
without
to cousin.
the microphone, cousin to cousin. It doesn't matter about all the people that are watching in the Thunderdome or watching at home. It's just about them. And I've really liked that touch. And he was just saying, like, you're trying to take my place at the head of the table and it doesn't make sense. I still love you. I'm just trying to make you understand. Like, why can't you see this doesn't make sense? And he's calling him into the ring. He's like, here's the chair. Take your shot. Go ahead. Do it. Yeah. And he turned around. So his back was to him. He held out his arms, waiting. And Jey picked up the chair and was going to do it. And then just, nope. And he just threw it onto the ground. And Reigns was kind of like smiling and laughing, turns around. And then Jey just snaps, punches him, super kicks him, grabs the chair, and just wails on him a couple of times before officials come and like separate him apart, which was nice. Yeah. I like that.
It was cool. It was really cool. Like the little tease that Roman's like, if you do this, if you hit Strowman with your chair, you're just like me. We are one team then. Like there's this hint that there's going to be this Samoan kind of faction, almost this kind of this tribe, as Roman might call it. Really, really effective. Cannot wait to see what happens at Hell in a Cell. Imagine saying last year, can't wait what happens. To be honest, I probably was saying, can't wait to see what happens at Hell in a Cell this year because it was the Fiend against Seth Rollins. We all know how that went. If this goes the same way, then I will never watch WWE again.
Well, you're going to have to. It's your job.
No. I'm quitting.
Okay.
It's an I quit match for me as well.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That's the consequences that Roman's talking about.
Yeah.
He's going to come out on next week on SmackDown. He's going to be like, if I say I quit, Andy Datson at WrestleTalk has to quit his job as well.
And the crowd's going to go,
not Andy Datson.
No.
He runs a website.
A big
But I thought the angle itself was great. And to end it as well, Reigns hit a Superman punch on Jey, just to stand tall again, because he does that. It's great. Loved all of this. Like you said, super excited for Hell in a Cell. Loved all the teases. Jey sold the emotion so well. Roman continues to be spectacular as this character. And I may be in the minority on this one. I don't want to see a Samoan faction form at all. I really don't want that. I want Roman to be his own man. Because I think in WWE's mind, what they might do if they start putting Roman with other people is they'll go into the WWE trope where Roman wins via interference from his cronies. And granted, that might be me being picky because they've booked Roman fantastically since his return. So they may continue some amazing booking afterwards. And that might be a bit harsh for me to say that. But I get the feeling if they're doing some sort of long-term plan, maybe it's Rock Reigns they've got planned out at WrestleMania. Let's say, hypothetically, that's what they've got.
I think that is certainly what they want. Whether they'll get it is another question.
Let's go off the argument for now that that's what's going to happen. It's Rock versus Reigns at Mania. I don't know if they've got every pay-per-view planned out from now until then and what the story's going to be. So I feel like if their backs are against the wall and if they're struggling to make a pay-per-view match, they may just turn and just be like, Roman wins, but we don't want to have him beat this guy. Usos interfere. That's fine, right? And it's going to actually like damage Roman and his character somewhat, which I don't want to happen because his character is fan-bloody-tastic. And I like the fact that Roman's his own man and he can just win because he's good. I like that. And it's just a heel that's really good and he doesn't have to cheat to win. I mean, he cheats because he punches people in the nuts, but he doesn't have to cheat to win. He's good enough to not do that, but he still does it anyway because he's a dick, which is great. So, overall, for this episode, now I got
excited.
I got very excited in my edited review because I did not sleep well last night. I only got about 3 to 4 hours sleep. Bit deprived. Saw the New Day segment, nearly cried. I was like, cool, 5 out of 5 show. Doesn't matter what else happens, it's a 5 out of 5 show. And then ending segment happened, and I was like, that's brilliant. Still a 5 out of 5 show. And you know what? I'm sticking to my guns. It's a 5 out of 5 show.
It's 5 out of 5. Lars, and then
Street Profits.
Take half off for the Morrison and no, the Street Profits match with Rude and Ziggler because it's pointless. So I'm going to give it a 3.75.
So you're giving it a 3 out of 5. No, because if you're not giving it a 4. No. Because if you're not giving it a 4, that means you're giving it a 3.
4 out of 5. Lars Sullivan gets 0.75 off and minus 0.25 for the Street Profits.
Hell yeah. I've made you a more positive person. Look at me go.
You're the positive one.
Positive Pete. That's what people call me all the time.
Do.
I don't nitpick. Don't know what you're talking about. Thank you very much for watching this episode of the WrestleTalk podcast. We have Patreon shout-outs to do. I totally forgot about that. Yeah. I should get them.
I can start if you like.
It's fine. If you haven't been to WrestleTalk's Patreon page yet, you should do that. Loads of extra bonus content. WrestleTalk Extra has just gone up. Today, I believe. Available for $5 backers and above, where Ollie and Luke are reviewing Halloween Havoc 95, featuring monster trucks. That's that show with Big Show or The Giant and Hulk Hogan. And some other stuff that was rubbish, apparently. So go and check that out. It's a very long review, and it's them doing a deep dive onto all sorts of stuff from Halloween Havoc. Plus, there's a load of other perks. If you pledge at the $25 or above tier, you get your own custom wrestling nickname, and it gets read out on a show, much like this one. So thank you very much to the beauty, not the beast, Lynn Bell. Woo!
Oh, she is a beauty. The lunatic, John Moxley's Fringe.
Woo, yes, thank you very much. The second coming, Kev Jr. It said
Kev Jr.
It's Kev Jr.
The Harbinger, Doom Lion.
Woo!
I started clapping whilst I was talking.
You did. We're going on a Brian Huntley. Woo!
Oh, very much. I'm going to run with it now. The King, Zachary McKinley.
Woo! Yes, thank you very much. Angelic Angelo Mercado. Woo!
He is angelic. The Kessel Run DX Solo.
Woo! Yes, thank you very much. The Fresh Princeton L Gainey. Woo!
He is fresh. LL Cool J Pause.
Woo! Yes, thank you very much. Disco Ryan Stewart. Woo! Thank you.
And lastly, he can last Sean for longer than you in the ring.
Jesus Christ. That is awful. You could have just done the last one and it would have been fine.
Longer than you in the ring.
That's terrible. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Please press the videos that have just appeared on the screen to catch up with the latest awesome WrestleTalk stuff, and the button in the middle that will make you become a pledge hammer over on Patreon. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Corporate Chopper. I've been joined by Randy Andy Datson, and that was SmackDown.